Walk round compound, see some tigers. Noe. How beautiful. Oh my goodness. Hello. Oh, curled Pete's. Curled Pete's. How beautiful. Hi, baby. How are you? How are you feeling? You feeling squishy? Yes. Ample levels of squish. Ample levels. Hello, all you big cat lovers out there. It's me, Derek, again. Welcome to another super duper fantastic episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. You're in for a treat because there's cats and we're gonna walk around. Whoa. I'm gonna talk about whatever. I don't have any topics. I don't have anything. Oh, hi, bud. What? Oh my gosh, hearts in the eyes, hearts in the eyes. Do you have hearts in your eyes? Do you? I see the vet center in your eyes. Yeah. He's like, that's oftentimes where they keep food. So I guess in a way. Sure. Oh, Raven must be inside. Raven must be inside. Hello. Oh, you don't say hi back? I see it. Oh my gosh. Jeez. I see how it is. Lex is probably just like, you know what? I really don't see Derek around that much. He's only here on like the weekends and stuff like that. So I'm not even gonna pay him any mind. It's like he doesn't exist. I see how it is. Lex is running the show now. It hurts, Lex.
I'm sorry.
Hurts. Right here. She's a good kid. She is. She's really hard worker. Great personality. Always wanting to help. It's just fun to give her. It's fun to give her grief. What? Derek trolling interns? No, never. I would never do such a thing. That's not anything I've ever done before. Beans and turkey. Oh. Looks like there's a mix. There's a mix of sleepy kitties and some not so sleepy kitties. Sass, are you there? Or are you up there? Oh, I think she's up there. I think she's up there. Nope, never mind. I was mistaken on multiple fronts. Hi, baby. Hi. You know, even with this waka, sometimes I still get just kind of wind interference coming in. Hi, baby. Look at you, pretty girl. You're a pretty girl. You're a pretty girl. What a good girl. What a good girl. I was noticing that on the last one. On the last webcast, it was a bit breezy, as it is sometimes wont to be here in the compound. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, I got my waka. I'm good. But sometimes even the waka can't keep that whoosh, 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 whoosh noise away. You know what I'm saying? The whoosh, whoosh, whoosh noise. Oh, it'll get you. It'll get you every time. Let's go over here and see if we can try to see Selena. All right, here we go. I don't know, it's a bit of a teleport. Hey, Sugar Pie. How are you? How you doing? Pretty good. We fed yesterday. She got a nice, robust leg of equine leg. A little piece of nene. Yeah, because, you know, that's the sound they make. Yes. Ah, that reminds me, it was Far Side. Remember that? The old comic? In the daily, the newspaper, the funny pages. It was The Far Side by a guy named Gary Larson. Oh my gosh. I used to have so many of the books, the collections, the off-wall calendars. My goodness, man. Far Side off-wall calendars. It got to a point, and like I was obsessed. Kind of like in middle school. Positively, absolutely obsessed. Like Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes, which, hey, go figure. But it got to the point, and I remember this, and I'm not trying to sit there and, too much, because it is actually kind of a very dorky skill that I'm about to kind of sort of brag about. Solano's in there, he's got his horse head. But I had a math teacher, my algebra teacher, Mr. Hansen. I was like in 6th or 7th grade. And he had an off-wall calendar. And I was sitting like in the middle of the classroom, and then it was far enough away. It was probably about, gosh, I don't know. I was about to say 30 or 40 feet away, but literally, because these are 10-foot increments, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 40 feet away would be that pipe in the middle right there. Like, that's how far. It's like his classroom was not that big. Okay, let me see. Okay, about 20. At least 20, maybe 25 feet. Okay, give you an idea. And his little off-wall calendar was sitting on his desk, and I saw it, and I couldn't read it, but I could make it out. I could make out the pictures enough, and I was so familiar with with Gary Larson's catalog. I was so familiar that I was able to pretty much give the punchline or the synopsis, or like I would be able to say like what the under the comic phrase or the setup was, and then like what the characters in the comic were saying. Yeah. I would read those things. I would read Far Side while I was just sitting there. And when I was eating, I would read my books, my Far Side books. And I would collect. I wouldn't throw away like the off-wall calendar stuff. I would, stalking a tour. I would keep them. I would collect them. Oh, my Grandma Krahn. Oh, she was great. She used to actually save the funnies for me out of the Wisconsin State Journal. Just piles of them. So every time I would go to visit, there'd be like a little stack of, she'd save the funnies for me, and she's like, "Here you go, Derek." And I'm like, "Thank you, Grandma." And I would take them, and I'd read them. Yeah, read them while I was eating, read them in bed, read them while I was pooping. Oh yeah, all that stuff. I would just read and then reread and then reread. So, I was sitting in that algebra class, and I was able to, again, like 25 feet away, I was able to like make out what it was from where I was sitting at. And then my algebra teacher, Mr. Hansen, he's just like, he was sitting at his desk. He's like, yeah, that's right. Like, that's what? He's like, you must have saw that when you walked in. I'm like, no. He's like, I was just like, yeah, flip up some more. So he started just like flipping random ones up. And then again, I would say like, blah, 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 punchline. And he would look at it and he'd be like, what the hell? I don't think I could do that now. I don't think I could do that so much now. Maybe a little bit. But that's when my skills were just at peak. At peak, you know, if there was like a professional market. If there was a professional market for that. Gosh, and there was it's funny because, like, did I even say the comic strip that actually, because there was a situation, I was saying something, I said something over there. Nay. There was a Far Side comic where it was like horse parliament. And it was like, you know, it was at the bottom it said like something like, oh, on this day, like it was a historical day. It was like the first time that someone in Parliament had said I. And like all of these horses they were like looking like, oh, like, and there was like one horse in the middle just smiling, just he. And it's like, okay, that's cute. That's clever. But yeah, that's when I said the nay. When I said the nay thing, it reminded me of Far Side. And then being reminded of Far Side reminded me of just my youthful obsession with Far Side. I loved Far Side, and I loved funnies. I loved like not necessarily like comic book comics. I loved the funnies. Yeah, Calvin and Hobbes. Huge into Calvin and Hobbes. Very similar kind of experience. I would just read and reread. You know, I had my Calvin and Hobbes collections. Scientific Progress Goes Boink, or Weirdos from Another Planet, or The Authoritative. Yeah. It was great. I loved it. Oh my goodness. Do you have some food? Oh yeah, you have a little bit over in the corner there. She's like, excuse me? Or maybe that was a burp. Or maybe that was a growl burp. Like a growl burp. And it's funny. Is it funny, Derek? Because when I say the things, like, I don't think that too many people are going to be like grabbing their sides and going, ha 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 ha. This is so funny. That was a very funny anecdote, Derek. That was a very funny aside that you had there. Whoa, where are you going? All right. But it was interesting. I was actually... Oh my gosh, there's a tiger right there. I didn't even see you. Hello. She's a-jumping. She's doing stuff. She's jumping on things, and she's laying down. All right, so exciting. But yeah, it was either yesterday or the day before. I saw it was one of the Far Sides, or I think I even just had the idea that popped in my head, and I looked it up. And it was, at the bottom it said hopeful parents. And you have to realize, like, Far Side, the Far Side kind of had its like heyday in the 80s. I think that Gary Larson stopped doing it mid-90s, 94, 95, which is coincidentally the same time that Bill Watterson, Calvin and Hobbes guy, stopped doing his. But the bottom of the strip said hopeful parents, and then there was a kid, little kid, and he's just sitting there, he's like playing Nintendo. And there's these two parents, they're watching him, and they're like, they're kind of like, you know, husband and wife, and kind of like that satirical kind of 50s nuclear family, just like, oh, there we go. You know, the dad with like the pipe and the slick back hair, and the mom wearing her house dress, and they're looking at their kid, and he's playing Nintendo, and they have like a thought bubble above their head, and they're envisioning like classified ads. And the classified ads basically say like, need someone to beat Mario, $75,000 annual salary. Like, are you looking for someone to kill Bowser? We'll pay for $100,000 plus benefits. And it was, it's funny because, of course, you know, at the time, it was basically saying just like, look at these kids, they're just kind of doing their thing. And they're engaged in an activity that's probably not going to have a lot of like meaningful career aspects. And he was like, he would be satirical, and a lot of times it's not like sitting there like, look at these idiots, but it's just, again, he would just have these kind of surrealist or kind of satirical elements. Very smart, very funny, and it's hilarious. There it is again, hilarious. It's everything is just so hilarious. No, but I will say, okay, it is funny. Because now you go forward, and then you see people, there are Twitch streamers who make, like Ninja, like that guy, makes like $500,000 a month. $500,000 a month. Playing video games. Playing video games. Others make more. Or the YouTubers, yeah. So those parents, they were onto something. They knew. I don't know, maybe it just kind of goes to show you like because video games, like, right when they first really started, they were, when you see something that is just a large scale cultural kind of, whoa. Yeah, and I guess maybe it takes like a few decades. But yeah, it does eventually become like a thing that, whoa. Goodness. I guess it's also like the idea that I have in my head right now that I'm gonna try to articulate is the idea, like, things that are popular, that are kind of cultural phenomenons that are geared more towards children. Which, you know, in like you could make the argument that the early days of video games, like, there were gaming systems that were designed for the most part for kids. Now, of course, they're not. They're for anyone. They're for everyone. But that's kind of like the original kind of idea. Same thing with cartoons, same thing with comics. But then as you get older, and as like the people who like were kids when those things were first introduced, as those people become adults, then you actually start to see more markets opening up for them. It's kind of like how we never saw like a lot of really good comic book movies until, I mean, you're talking like within like the last maybe 20 years. Is when like it really started off. But before that, comic book movies were just seen as just like, oh, that's silly. That's silly. That stuff's for kids and nerds. But then it gets to where it becomes so mainstream and it has such a large scale appeal because the people who do actually go into those kind of like, maybe like TV or movie producer jobs or something like that, well, when they were kids themselves, like they would ingest that type of stuff. They'd watch comics, or they'd watch cartoons. And then they'd be like, well, how can I kind of make this like a little bit more, you know, applicable? Or I guess it's also like it's in the, because everyone did. Like, you wouldn't be able to take The Simpsons. The Simpsons, Matt Groening started that. It started on Tracy Ullman show, like 88, 89. I think 89 is when it became its own first like standalone TV series. Now, you would not have been able to start The Simpsons, though. You wouldn't have been able to get that going like in 1969. Like, I highly doubt that would have happened. Because, I guess, culturally, again, you're talking about like a lot of people who still like, which is funny. I think about, man, all these kind of relative, there's a lot of different stuff that's just kind of coming up. I remember learning about, my mom told me this. She told me about her mom, my grandma, but the first cartoon that she ever saw, I think it was like the first movie in a movie theater that she saw, which was Snow White. Yeah, back in the 30s. And of course I was just like, it blew her away. And that's, again, of course, when cartoons were for kids. For kids. I guess like maybe when cartoons kind of translated over to television, maybe like the 50s and the 60s. Okay, 50s and the 60s. And that's when they became like mass. They became like mass like everywhere. Yeah, 40s, 30s, 20s. You would see like the little shorts prior to a feature-length movie or whatnot. You see like television cartoons actually becoming a thing in the 1950s and the 1960s. I mean, well, television itself just became a thing. The late 40s into the 50s, but anyway. So now you have a bunch of people as children watching cartoons, and then those people grew up. Okay, so 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You're talking like a span of like 20, 30 years. So they go from being young ones to now being adults. Now they are actually in the seat. They're hosting different shows, like a Tracy Ullman type thing, or they're producers of network studios. They're able to greenlight projects. So these people themselves actually were the ones who ingested this type of stuff. They themselves watched cartoons when they were children. So then you have a guy like, Matt Groening, who comes up and says basically, hey, I've got this idea, and it's a cartoon, but it's a little bit more, and it's going to be a little bit more crude, a little bit more adult themed. And then the time was right. Just both culturally and the types of people who are presenting and making sorts of decisions. And then, yeah, that's when the Simpsons, it became a thing. Whereas 10 or 20 years prior to that, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. That's why you see like this big research, like this uptick in just geek culture in general. Because more and more people are just being like, no, it's okay. Way more people are just comfortable with it. You see people doing cosplay and you see people doing all sorts of stuff who, whoa, excuse me, that was, what a jerk. What a jerk. I don't know. I'm trying to make a point. I think I am kind of, but it's hard. Anyway, I think that's about enough that I have for today. We're gonna see Bonnie and then Savannah. I'll go see Choppers. You'll see him in the next cast. So stay tuned for the next episode. Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching this episode of the Walk Around the Compound webcast. #Dorbest Award in the comment section below. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye.